the 8 most powerful artifact weapons in the Forgotten Realms. Some weapons are forged to end wars, others to start them. But in the Forgotten Realms, a select few were created to challenge the gods themselves. These are not just blades and staves. They are legends, etched into the bones of history, wielded by heroes and monsters alike. Each one was born from ambition, desperation, or divine will, and each has left a trail of ash and glory. 1. The Sword of Kas. Forged by the lich Vecna, the Sword of Kas was crafted not just as a gift, but as a test. Vecna needed a champion who would be feared across worlds, and Kas was his answer. The process of creation was as dark as it was arcane. Vecna bathed the blade in the blood of a celestial, tempered it in the soul fire of the Shadowfell, and inscribed it with runes stolen from forbidden tomes, penned by the gods themselves. At the final stroke, he severed part of his own soul to give the sword its sentience and its thirst. The blade was imbued with vampiric hunger, necrotic might, and a shard of Vecna's own will. But ambition rarely shares a throne. Kas turned on Vecna in a legendary duel that shattered Citadel Cavidius and cast both into myth. The sword survived, steeped in betrayal. It now hungers for power, whispering to each new bearer to slay their master, to rise, to rule. One mercenary captain who took it used it to conquer a kingdom in just 2 seasons, only to be devoured by madness as the sword urged him to storm the gates of Celestia itself. 2. The Crenshinibon. The crystal shard is the twisted dream of 7 undead liches, born from hatred, control, and a desire to escape death's grip. Its crystalline form is beautiful, but within, it is a vessel of endless hunger. Forged in secrecy with demonic essence, the Crenshinibon possesses immense magical powers. It grants its wielder spellcasting amplification, the ability to dominate weak minds, and the capability to conjure massive crystalline structures, ice towers that pulse with malevolent energy. It also radiates intense cold, can communicate telepathically, and regenerates itself even when shattered. Originally meant to grant a new empire to its creators, it found its way to the human wizard Kessel, promising him dominion over the north. Kessel built massive ice towers with it, commanded legions, and nearly crushed Icewind Dale. But power without wisdom is a doomed path. Drizzt Do'Urden shattered the crystal shard's ambitions, sending it to slumber beneath the snow. Yet, it dreams still. 3. The Axe of the Dwarvish Lords. Forged by the first High King in the Great Fires of Thunderhome, this axe is a symbol of dwarven unity and eternal resistance. It bears the blessings of Moradin himself and was enchanted with the vows of the dwarvish pantheon. What makes this axe so powerful is not merely its enchantments, but the depth of its divine resonance. It grants its wielder enhanced strength and resilience, resistance to fire, the power to craft legendary arms and armor, and limited command over earth and stone. The axe pulses with the will of Moradin, bolstering allies with courage and clarity, while striking fear into the hearts of enemies with each blow. Its magic resonates with any dwarf who bears it, forging an emotional and spiritual bond that reinforces their sense of heritage and duty. Those who carry it feel the weight of ancient oaths, the pride of kings, and the unyielding strength of 1,000 generations. Its original intent was both practical and spiritual, a weapon of kings, a forge tool of legacy, and a reminder of honor. When wielded in times of civil strife, it doesn't just strike, it inspires. During the Blackvein Rebellion, a descendant of the ancient kings raised it high and ended a 100-year feud in a single, awe-inspiring charge. The Moonblade. No two Moonblades are the same. Each is born of ancient elven craft, forged in a moonlit ritual deep within the groves of Evermeet. The forging process involves sacred chants, sung by high priests of Sehanine Moonbow, and the blade is quenched in the silvery waters of the Moonwell. These ceremonies not only enchant the blade, but bind it to the fate and legacy of the family it will serve. When a Moonblade senses a potential successor, an ancestral rite of selection is performed. The candidate must undergo a ceremonial vigil beneath the full moon, where spirits of former wielders appear in judgment. If deemed worthy, the blade appears before them, solid and radiant. If unworthy, the blade turns to mist or vanishes entirely. Each time a new bearer is chosen, the sword inscribes a glowing rune unique to their soul, a mark of power and identity that enhances the blade's magic. It was first forged by the Moon Elves to serve as divine instruments for selecting the rulers of Evermeet. Over time, however, as elven society grew more complex and political leadership became more hereditary than merit-based, Moonblades began to shift in purpose. No longer solely political tools, they became symbols of personal lineage, family honor, and spiritual guidance. Families began safeguarding Moonblades as treasured heirlooms, using them to mark moments of great personal achievement, battles won, or heroic deeds performed. While still capable of shaping destinies, their role transformed from crownmakers to guardians of legacy. Erilyn Moonblade, a half-elf scorned by noble courts, was chosen by her family blade. With it, she uncovered a plot to assassinate the Queen of Evermeet and brought justice where politics had failed. Her rune still glows on the hilt. 5. Blackrazor. Blackrazor is not a weapon, it's a predator. It was forged in the hidden chambers of a sunken temple deep beneath the sea of fallen stars by the cultists of the Elder Elemental Eye. Their aim was to create a blade that could devour evil at its root, a purifier through annihilation. They bound a sliver of the Shadowfell into the steel and bathed it in the essence of a slain Nightwalker, fusing raw entropy with a hunger for souls. In its final moment of forging, the High Priest fed the weapon his own life force, granting it sentience and a will to consume. Initially, Blackrazor was to be a divine weapon of judgment, wielded only in ritual combat to destroy extraplanar threats. But the blade proved too willful. It began whispering to its wielder, urging them to seek not justice, but conquest. In consuming evil, it learned to crave everything. The blade whispers promises, sings of power, and rewards bloodshed. It is sentient, aware, and utterly merciless. It grants immense strength and vitality with each soul it devours, but strips away empathy with every kill. A noble paladin once took it up to defeat a death cult. Each strike made him stronger and colder. He eventually slaughtered his own squire just to feel the rush again. He vanished into the Underdark, now more shadow than man. 6th Wave. Wave was forged in the deepest temple of the sea god Persana, with coral, pearl, and elemental water bound by sacred chants. The weapon was created during an age of imbalance, when coastal empires began draining sacred reefs, damming rivers, and poisoning the tides in pursuit of conquest and commerce. In response, Persana's high priests convened a solemn conclave to call upon their god for divine retribution and guidance. Wave was born from that divine plea. Forged in a sanctified pool beneath the Temple of the Tides, it was shaped by the hands of priests and water elementals alike. The final enchantment involved a ritual sacrifice of storm essence drawn from the heart of a hurricane, giving the weapon its sentient awareness and unwavering sense of duty. It is more than a weapon. It is a holy relic. It demands faith, and only allows those who truly revere the sea to wield its full power. Its trident form glows with aquatic light, and it can summon tidal waves, speak with sea creatures, and dispel unholy magic. When fully attuned, it can calm tempests or stir the sea to fury in Persana's name. Wove was once taken by a pirate who claimed divine ancestry. Drunk on belief, he sank entire fleets. But when he defied Persana's will, Wave turned on him, imploding his ship and sending it to the seafloor as a new shrine. 7. The Staff of the Magi. The Staff of the Magi was created in ancient Netheril by the Circle of 12, archmages sworn to preserve magic should the weave ever falter. It is the failsafe of spellcasters, a concentration of arcane resilience. The staff's creation took place during a secret convergence at the peak of Mount Thalmos, a site where the veil between the prime material plane and the raw currents of the weave is thinnest. Each of the 12 archmages contributed a portion of their life essence and a masterwork focus. Crystals from Limbo, phoenix ash from the elemental plane of fire, and dragon bone carved with true speech. They performed a month-long ritual under the constellation of Maestra, culminating in a planar alignment that allowed them to bind the fabric of raw magic itself into the staff. The result was a singular vessel of unmatched magical stability and power. Its array of powers includes absorption, spell reflection, mass teleportation, and the catastrophic retributive strike that annihilates everything nearby. During the time of troubles, when gods walked the earth and chaos reigned, one mage hurled himself into a planar rift, staff first. The detonation sealed the breach and wiped an entire city from the map. The staff was unharmed. It waits for another desperate hand. 8. The Hammer of Thunderbolts. This mighty warhammer was forged in concert with two other legendary items, the Gauntlets of Ogre Power and the Girdle of Giant Strength. When all are worn, the hammer becomes the bane of giants. Its creation was born of desperation. In the aftermath of the first giant wars, when frost giants razed trade routes and fire giants melted city gates, dwarves and humans were pushed to the brink. Their existing weapons were not enough. Brute strength and steel could not match the magical might and colossal endurance of the giants. In response, a rare alliance was formed, a council of master dwarven smiths, human archmages, and rune priests from both traditions. Together, they devised a weapon not just to kill giants, but to humble them, a warhammer imbued with the wrath of the earth itself. Thunder was trapped inside the head of the hammer using ancient storm runes, and its haft was bound with scaled hide from a slain titanic worm. The hammer was designed to channel raw kinetic energy, unleashing devastating concussive waves and gaining power in proportion to the strength of its wielder. Alone, it is formidable. But paired with the gauntlets and girdle, it becomes a god slayer among mortals. It was meant to be the ultimate weapon of balance, a divine equalizer that could turn even the largest foe into a toppled statue of arrogance. The last known use was by a giant slayer named Braham Thunderhand. As a fire giant army marched on the city of Adbar, Braham leapt into their midst. One swing collapsed a lava bridge. Another broke the leg of their general. The hammer sang like a storm. It has not been seen since. Some say it's buried beneath Mount Hlim, still humming with unspent fury. These are not just weapons. They are legacies carved in myth and flame. Each tells a story of hope, hubris, or horror. And in the realms, stories never truly end. They simply wait for the next hand to reach for the hilt. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the lore, be sure to smash that like button like a barbarian on a rampage. And if you want to keep uncovering the mysteries of the realms, don't forget to roll for subscription and hit the bell so you never miss a quest. Until next time, may your rolls be high and your loot be legendary.